All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome. It is January 16th, 2022, and we are going to talk about vision tonight on this call. Um, I was thinking recently about how, like, the first 5 years of this business went for me. It was very, um, I had a very clear path on where I was going. And so if there were times where I was like, oh, I'd rather just binge Netflix a little bit today, I would look and realize, well, first I need to do this. First, I need to do X, Y, and Z in my business, and then I can reward myself with a show or something like that because I had a very clear vision on where I was going. Goals and vision are different, right? We set our goals and those sound great. Like, we're like, okay, we want to earn our money back for our product, or we want to earn enough money to pay for gas in our car or groceries. And those are goals. But when you have, and those are great, but you want to have something where you can see where you're going, a vision of where you're going. So um one of the leaders on the team shared with me, like, next September for her 40th birthday, they're taking the kids to Disney World. And so that is a very clear vision. She can see the smiles on the kid's face when she walks into Magic Kingdom and they see the castle for the first time. Like, a vision is something that gives you those emotions. So it keeps driving you towards your goals and where you're headed. A couple ways that you can decide on what your vision should be is sitting down and journaling out what a couple ways you can journal is what would be your ideal day in 3 years. Like, pick an actual day of the week. Like, what do I want my Mondays to look like? And say, pick a Monday and say, it's Monday, it's summer, I'm sitting on the front porch, I'm drinking a cup of coffee, I'm getting ready to start my day. My work day is from 9 to 12. And then I get to go have lunch by the water. Today, this is what I'm doing. And you're talking about exactly, like, it's almost like a diary entry of what that day was like. Or, today we walked into Disney World for the first time, and the look on my children's faces was priceless. It brought tears to my eyes. We got to meet Mickey. We had lunch in Cinderella's castle. And, so you can see it, you can visualize it, you can almost feel the emotion of what it's going to be like for you to get on that path and whatever that vision looks like for you, so that you know that this is a life that you can dictate. Like, in the next 3 to 5 years, your life could look drastically different than currently, and you could have that freedom. And again, it doesn't have to be this would be your full-time job and this is something that you're just living up life, but working this business will give you more freedom in all of your choices. So you could maybe take, maybe you get 2 weeks vacation at your current job, but you're able to take a third week without pay because you have created such an amazing business that it doesn't really matter. Like, you have this extra income where you could vacation for 3 weeks, or you go on somewhere where you're going to actually go away for 2 weeks straight, or whatever that might look like. So journaling, visualizing, talking about what a day would look like, doing a vision board if that works for you. Getting vision boards sometimes stress me out because I have a hard time finding the right picture. like when I was making a plan for this house, like, my first 5 years in this business was to get out of our current house that we were in, because that was our first house. It was 1,200 square foot. We were growing out of it. People, we would hear gunshots, and it wasn't because people were hunting. Like, it was just like getting to, I wanted out of inner city. I wanted the kids to not be in that school system anymore. Like I just needed to, so there was such a vision of me like being in a small town, getting to know everybody, and like I could see where I was going, and but I could never find a picture of the house. It was always like I want a yellow colonial with a farmer's porch, and like I knew, but I had the vision in my head, but I was like, I can't put this on a vision board because I can't find the house. Like I couldn't find the house, but I just kept talking about when we walk in the house, the dining room's going to be on the right, the office is going to be on the left. Like I just kept talking about it. So that was enough for me. So that's kind of another point I want to make when you were writing. So the goal and the vision was the house, right? Like it was a goal and I could see it. So every Sunday night, I would sit down. I've gotten away from this and I need to get back to it. I would sit down and I would write my top 10 goals for the next year. And I would write them as if they already happened. I am a 6-figure earner with Beachbody. I am in our new home with the farmer's porch. I keep speaking of, I don't have a farmer's porch, but I keep telling Mark, how do we make this into a farmer's porch? He's like, I don't know if we could do that. I'm like, well, let's get a contract. Like, cause that was the one thing I don't have. I visualized the in-ground pool that came years after we had the house, but that was fine. So there was just a lot of visualization, and it was very consistently me writing my goals. I am in the home of our dreams. This is our forever home. We are traveling as a family to Disney World 3 times a year. Like whatever it was, I was writing it consistently, and I never looked back. This is something that Brian Tracy teaches, and then in turn, Chalene taught. I never looked back at the week before. Like I didn't peek at my goals and rewrite them and be like, oh yeah, whatever I feel that Sunday, I'm writing. And usually the first 5 or 6 are the same because you know exactly what you want, your first 5 or 6 goals. But the last 3 to 4 might change week to week, or you might, one week you might be like, oh, I'd like these 2 things. And then the next week you take those off and add 2 more, so, because priorities change, seasons of lives change. And if you forgot about a goal, then it probably wasn't that important of a goal, right? Like if you're like, oh yeah, I kind of wanted that, and that wasn't strong enough. And then another way, so you write that day in the life, but you could also write your story. Like, what is your story in the next 3 to 5 years? Yes, you want to do a day in the life, but what does life look like consistently on a daily basis? What is, you want to pick a day as one visualization journaling, but then you want to pick multiple days. Like, what does life look like in the summers? What does life look like in the winters? Where are you living? Where are you vacationing? Where are you, and just really getting, what does your house look like? What does your bank account look like? Visualize what your savings account looks like. Visualize what your IRA looks like. Visualize what the college fund looks like. Visualize something big for me that I always wanted to do was pay the bills as they come in the door. Like that was not like in the beginning, when I first started this business, I always had piles of bills and I had to make a decision on what was going to get paid. And then other things were late because I had to prioritize the mortgage and the heat and the electricity. And then I was like, well, then I can't pay this, so that was a big thing for me. I will pay the bills as they come in the door. There's enough money just constantly sitting in the checking account that I can just write the day the bill comes in, it leaves with a check, or online now, right? Who writes checks? But and you're and that was, I do still do a couple too. I still do a couple, but most of them are online, but there's still a couple. Oh my God. Visualize a trainer, a dog trainer that comes into your home and tames the wild beast of a puppy that you decided you needed a year ago. Just visualize a well-behaved puppy. Will that work? Ollie is well-behaved. So yeah, so that is visualize. I want you to visualize team goals. What is your team? So you want to visualize all that personal stuff, but then you also want to visualize business stuff. What does your team look like? How many members are on your team? How many, who are they? Where did you meet them? Get very clear on who your tribe is, where you want them to come from, how many there are, what type of people are they. There's definitely people that are like have been lawyers, nurses, doctors, corporate executives that are also very advanced leaders in this business. And I love Stephanie, the ER doctor. She paid off. Beachbody does not guarantee any level of success or income. It is based on the coach's individual effort, but she paid off $300,000 in her doctor's student loans with her Beachbody money. She's in her late 20s now, early 30s. She still works in the ER, but she is a 5-star diamond, multiple elite coach that works her full-time ER business and works Beachbody full-time, full part-time, right? But her and her husband travel a ton. So that was part of, the freedom to travel, which her business, being a doctor wasn't giving her, because she had so much money paying off in student loans. So she couldn't travel, she couldn't save that money. So it's all about not just writing your goals, but really seeing where life could go and seeing where these goals could take you. One of the team goals or team visions that I would love for us to set, so if we can all kind of think about this and maybe talk about it on next Sunday's call, is how many Beachbody Challenge entries do we want to have per month in our teams? How many. We've got to get better, right? I know I do. I've got to get better at making sure people are entering the Beachbody Challenge. And so I'd love for us to set a team goal and just visualize one of us having one of our customers or coaches up on that stage at Summit, being a top 10 finalist, earning $100,000 and being alongside next to them. And so so we could set a goal, but then see ourselves up there, and then seeing the rest of us in the audience screaming like maniacs, cheering whoever that is on, right? So that's kind of what I wanted to go over tonight. And I am going to challenge you to do some homework, whether you do it tonight, tomorrow, but in the next 2 days, I would say in the next 48 hours, because you don't want to lose this, that you do some of those journalings and you write your top 10 goals for the next year, and you write out a day in the life in the next 3 to 5 years. You write your story. What is life typically looking like in the next 3 to 5 years? What is, because that's all of that visualization and consistent goal writing is gonna allow you to push on the days where you don't want to push, right? And I'm starting to really pay attention on when the team's starting to message me their goals and then their to-do list, and it doesn't align. I'm really starting to pay attention to that. I'm like, okay, you're setting this goal here. Like someone had set diamond by Valentine's Day, and then she was saying, and I'm going to do 5 invites this week. I was like, Valentine's Day is coming. So it has to be 5 invites a day.
Yeah.
you know, so you just, and it wasn't like she hasn't done any invites. So she was like, I need to start somewhere. Right. But it's important for you to look at your goals and then your to-do list, because it's not, it has to align. Like you have to be doing the activities to reach your goal. And the key to that is, don't diminish your goal because of the activities you're going to do. Like come up with your activities. If this is your goal, don't be like, well, oh, you're right, but I can only do one a day. Like what? No, you know, so you got to come up to you got to match your activities to what your goal to be. But it also, again, has to be something that you can consistently stick to. You have to, it doesn't have to be per day. Like if your life is insane, then by the end of the week, 20 invites will be done, and you just, whatever, you know, so it doesn't have to be, so one day you can do 7 and the next day you get none done and the next day you do 10, you know, so whatever that might look like for you is fine. It doesn't have to be daily numbers that you shoot for that you know you can't realistically do because of life, or your schedule or whatever that might look like. So making sure you're setting your daily to-do list items to move you closer to your goals, which will move you closer to your vision that you can stick to consistently, and raising up your to-do list to reach that goal and vision. Don't bring your goal and vision down because you don't think you can do it, right? Because you can. You're just overthinking it, or you're thinking you can't, you know, so, or you're thinking, well, I can't do 5 a day. And okay, so 5 times 5 a week is 25. So you can do 25 a week, and you decide when you want to do those. Am I making sense? All right. All right. I'm going to stop the recording. We will chat a little to see if anyone, does anyone have any pertinent questions that you think will help the rest of the group before I stop the recording, or statements?
Is it better to write it out instead of type it out?
I feel it is. A lot of research has been done in that. The paper to the pen, there's a lot of emotion in that, like the pressure of writing, the colors you might want to use will bring new emotions, the excitement of the pen to paper. There is some studies that show it is more effective to write it. You can also have what?
Celine Johnson would tell you to write it.
Yeah, and you could also have a place where you could have it typed out so that it sits somewhere that you can look at it every day, but once a week, yeah, I would pen to paper it, highlight colors, where's it gonna go? It's all makes a difference on the journal that it sits in, or you know, how you do that. And then there's things you want to look at every day. Like you want to open that list up before you start your business and be like, okay, let's do this. Or read your vision every day. Read your story that you write out every day before you start your business. Just read, this is where I'm going. Nobody's going to stop me.
I have a quick question. When do I have to reach Diamond and hold it for 6 weeks before I can walk across the stage at Summit?
Someone asked that in a group today, what is the Summit? So you don't walk across as a diamond.
Not as a diamond, okay.
No, it's your name will be up in shiny lights, but like on the screen, like it'll flash while we're all sitting there waiting for something to happen. The train starts at 1 star, 1 star to 4 stars when you walk in those big groups, and then 5 stars when you get your moment to pause and selfie it on the stage.
So you're going to do that, right?
What?
You're going to do 5-star, right?
I have already done all that. They don't let you repeat that when you do it. Yeah, if you can't re-rank up, or if your second business center hits it, like it's weird. It's yeah, it's weird. So The only way for me to get back up there on a rank advancement is 15 star, and I'm not quite sure if that's where I'm headed anymore. But somebody did ask but I will find it. Somebody did ask, what's the summit cutoff? Because it's always, but it's probably in the FAQ.
Yeah.
But we can post that. I'll post that and find that.
I
So
want to
that-
say last year it was by June 1.
Something like that.
This
It was
is
June, I remember that.
I think you're right, Kelly. I think it was June for sure.
Someone asked a day ago and nobody has given her the answer. So we will go to the FAQ and find that. It should be something that Darren says at the beginning of his recognition every week on the National Wake Up Call, like starting now, so that people know, because it is always like, oh crap, it's next week. It's always one of those. But yes, there is a cutoff. We will find that though. Okay.
All right, I wrote that in a different color so I can look it up too.